Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on the DC Universe Titans series 7th episode entitled Asylum. And when there's trouble, you know who to call. Not these guys. Maybe if you want to blow up the world, then you call these guys. Another dark, depressing, dank episode. Set within an asylum are, air quotes, titular heroes. They're all captured, they're all tortured, and it's like, why should I care? I haven't grown any rapport with these characters. They've hardly grown any rapport with each other, with themselves, you know? And as Dick is getting drugged and Corey's being cut into, and by the way, did they put something into her, or were they strictly testing out her regenerative ability? Because I started thinking, when we see like the scar that's healed over, maybe she's got a bomb in there, maybe she's got a tracking device. With how these people seem to know everything about our main characters, I mean, they seem to recognize them as the Titans, as the characters they're supposed to be, even though I would argue that they are nothing like the characters they are supposed to be. As I have said time and again in these videos, I think Dick Grayson is probably the closest, Gar being the second. But the entire, sort of viewing experience I had of watching this episode can be summed up to one scene wherein Rachel, after finding her apparent mother, played by Rachel Nichols, which I thought was a nice little surprise, haven't seen her around in a while, she goes to save Gar, and Gar has been so psychologically messed with that when he turns into the one animal he can turn into in this series, a tiger, when this scientist doctor or whatever is threatening them and trying to recapture Rachel and all this kind of stuff. I mean, you have Beast Boy, you have Gar turn into the tiger and maul this guy, pretty much tear him asunder, tear him apart. And when he transforms back to human form, I mean, he is shocked. He is in a state of shock. He is traumatized by what he just did. As we've heard before, he's never bit a human being. He's never bit anyone. He is kind of a vegan, vegetarian kind of thing, which harkens back to like the animated series and stuff like that. And he is properly traumatized, and you just have Rachel sort of sitting there rolling her eyes. Her expression says, "Oh, for Christ's sake, not now." And then she just says audibly, "We have to go save the others. Like don't bother me with this. We got to go find Dick and Corey and then get the hell out of here." And that's all that matters for right now. And on one hand, I understand that, because they are trapped within this facility and all havoc is ensuing. But one part of me doesn't care at all, because I haven't grown attached to any of these characters, as bad as what they're experiencing and what they're being put through while they're, trapped in this place. As bad as that is, and then the other half of me is just like, oh, just wrap up the episode already. I'm not enjoying it. I don't care. The whole dramatic twist of Robin fighting himself, in a sense. I mean, I should have been that much more invested, especially because it's his younger form, You ruined the whole Robin thing. It was supposed to be our saving grace, and psychologically he's eating away at himself, and I just don't care, because I'm not invested enough in him. I'm not invested enough in this team. When Gar and Rachel first got caught to begin with, I had kind of hoped that maybe that was Dick and Corey having caught up to them and like teaching them a lesson by knocking them out, electrocuting them briefly. But no, they were captured, and it was just kind of like, oh gee, hunky-dory. You could have figured that was going to happen. And then, of course, Dick and Corey arrive. They get captured properly as well. And after everything is said and done, once they've all made their way out, what does Dick decide to do? Is it the darkness within him? Is it the Robin aesthetic within him that has gone off the rails? It's arguable where it came from, where it originates, how deep, dark, and buried it is. Similarly with how Gar mauled the guy. Maybe that was a product of the torture he had undergone in this episode. Maybe similarly, Dick was kind of sort of broken there for a few minutes. And he's just like, this all has to end. And if Corey has any spark left in her, we're going to nuke the joint. How many other freaking, patients or people held against their will might have been in there, if any? I don't know. How many innocent victims just got wiped out alongside all the guards and the scientists and the doctors who were doing these cruel, twisted experiments? Who knows? Who cares? Robin don't care, Dick don't care, Corey's kind of questioning it, but she does it anyway, and who cares? But symbolically, you have his suit in flames and the little Robin R melting away. And so I get it. I get what the symbolism is, but I just don't care. I don't care. You've had guest characters, Hawk and Dove, Jason Todd, the Doom Patrol. In the next episode, we're going to be debuted to Donna Troy. I guarantee you she's going to be, a completely three-dimensional, depth-laden character, relatable character. Our main characters, the titular Titans themselves, have been anything but for my taste in this series. And this episode is kind of the personification of who gives a flying fuck about any of it. They're not the Titans as I know them. They're barely recognizable as any iteration of the characters I would appreciate knowing and seeing on screen. When you have Hawk and Dove and Jason Todd and the Doom Patrol and these other characters so much more fleshed out and so much more relatable than the titular heroes themselves, I mean, they can actually be more closely a personification to those characters as people are familiar with them and still be on a journey to find themselves and find each other. But that's not the way they went. They decided to go completely off the wall, dark and edgy for the sake of dark and edgy, and this whole episode was depressing, and the action sequences just felt like going through the motion. There was a non-investment on my part, and I just didn't care. And I can't get to the next episode in Donna Troy soon enough because I can't wait to see her character. I love Wonder Girl. I love the Donna Troy version of that character. And I can only assume that her characterization is going to be that much better than our main titular heroes thus far. And it's a shame because I went into this without any real expectations or hopes, but whatever hopes I could have had have been dashed every single episode. For those who are watching the series and loving it, I mean, I'm not trying to persuade you otherwise. I'm not trying to influence you to see the negative aspect as I'm seeing it. More power to you if you're watching this and you're enjoying the hell out of it and you're invested in it and then some. But I'm struggling to find that. I'm struggling to find the relatability and recognizability of these characters, and it's just smacking me upside the head with a 2x4 every time I go looking for it, with the main foursome. And just that overall performance of Rachel, Tegan Croft as Rachel in this episode, once she finds her mother and she's gotten the mission completed that she was in there to begin with, she's just sort of pithy, and I don't care. Let's go. Let's just get the hell out of here. When Gar mauls this guy and is traumatized, when Dick is beating the ever-loving hell out of the guards that are coming to stop them from escaping, she's just watching with this pithy, who cares, let's just go attitude. And that's exactly the attitude I experienced watching the episode. Who cares, just end it already, just get to the end and just be over. And there was one overall moment that was almost hope-filled, that almost had me by the lapels, and it was very fleeting, but it's when Rachel, Gar, and her mother find Dick, and the mother says something about, they may have broken him. They do that a lot, to people. And you have Rachel getting up on top of him and like imploring him, you said you weren't going to leave me. You said you wouldn't leave me behind and all this kind of stuff. And she's trying to reach him and there's no response. But then finally, at the last second, you see a glint in Dick's eye and an almost imperceptible smirk on his face. And he's like, yeah, I guess I did. And for that one fleeting moment, it was like, oh, there is characterization. There is relatability. There is compassion. There is what I am longing for. And then, as I say, it was fleeting. It was gone. They're out the door, and they're beating the hell out of everybody after they go and get Corey and yank the pipe out of her throat and whatever. And then they nuke the place, and it's just like, these are not heroes. This feels more like a fucking X-Men show or a mutant show than Titans, than anything DC-oriented. And for my taste, that is a big-time motherfucking problem. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about this particular episode, episode 7, Asylum. I can't wait for the next. I can't wait to be debuted to Donna Troy. Hopefully she is, as I assume she will be, a three-dimensional, relatable, likable character as Jason Todd. In their own way, Hawk and Dove, but the Doom Patrol and things like that have already been in their appearances. And I guess I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've been loving or hating the Titans series, what you thought of this particular episode. And I'd also like to ask if you'd like to see content like this from me in the future. If you'd consider supporting my channel, please have a look at my PayPal contribution link posted both in the description as well as the comments below. You have options you can explore as far as setting up a monthly contribution, a one-time only kind of thing. You can send a message with a contribution to request topics I may discuss in the future, as well as request shout-outs and things of that nature. And, but yeah, I would really appreciate you doing that, taking the time. And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.